Hello, friends.
The Destroy All Humans games are absolute classics. I mean, how can you love playing as an alien and throwing people around? Or even flying around in a UFO and abducting cows. I mean, come on. And the humor in these games is just the cherry on top. So I figured I'd get all 3 Destroy All Humans Platinums in one video. Both 1 and 2 reprobed, aka remastered, and even the Clone Carnage multiplayer game. But of course we'll be starting with the very first one, where right when we jump in we see the military using a whole nuke to shoot down this UFO, which introduces us to the character we'll be playing as. Well, kind of. You see, this is Crypto 136, and every time Crypto dies, like this, Pox here clones him back to life, hence the 136. So actually, we'll be playing as Crypto 137 now.
We gotta rescue me. Him. He's gotta rescue me. I mean, I gotta... Brains, man. When do I get to blow things up?
So like he said, we have to go rescue 136. But before we can even do that, I got my very first trophy for just putting on this costume. Invasion of the Body Swappers. Now right when we land on Earth, our first task is to look for dominant life forces, as they put it. And that leads us into having to figure out what these things are.
They eat with their mouths. I think I'm going to be violently ill.
But just for landing in our first area, we already get another trophy. Going to seed, I didn't even do anything, I just spawned in. And then Crypto goes to try and talk with the cows. But I mean, as you can imagine, that doesn't work out too well. And that brings us to our first little mission, where we just have to use our psychokinesis powers to toss some cows around. And also have to drown one in the lake for this optional objective, which isn't actually so optional, as there's one in every mission we need for the trophy at the very end of the game. But while we're throwing the cows around, the farmers end up coming out, which is also where we get to hear my favorite catchphrase from these games.
I am not green.
Then right after, as I was zapping my way through all the humans, I got my next trophy. No time to waste. What's that for? Destroy a human with a weapon and another with a PSI ability at the same time. That's a random trophy. And I'm so good I even got another one not 10 seconds later. Brain drain. Oh, there's so many trophies already. Consume a human brain to kickstart your shield generation. But now we just have to deal with a few cops that are trying to break into our saucer. And with that we get to go up for our first flight around. But with all the ruckus we've caused, it's alerted the army. So we have to use our death ray to take them all out. And that finishes up the first mission. And we also get introduced to the Men in Black, which are going to be trying to take us out throughout the whole game. But after this long backstory about the Furon Empire, which is where they're both from, we get to use the store for the first time to get an upgrade. A pox on your gear. We also unlock a new area to go to, which is where our next mission is. And it also gives us a trophy for the first time going there. Rockwell Death Knell. So for this mission, we have to use our new move Holobob, which lets us become and take control of any humans we want. And reading people's thoughts makes the Holobob last longer, which is what got me this. But with this disguise, we have to go and find Miss Rockwell, since she apparently
has a brain the size of a peanut.
And that makes her an easy target to trick her into following us, which is another move we have. But on the way back, we find a couple people having a good time, you could say, in their cars here. And just beyond that is the UFO, where we bring Miss Rockwell for, testing.
It's probing time.
Now Pox says we have to destroy the whole affair, building by building, which is where I get this. Rejected for probing. Throw something into something else with the saucer's abducto beam. Oh, and also this right after. Holy crap, another one. Destroy multiple humans with a human-made explosive. But once that's done, it's mission complete, and I head back to buy my first UFO upgrade. There it is, and a Pox on your saucer too. And with that, we're off to the next mission, which is also the last one here before we head off to the next town. We just have to holobob between different authorities to sneak our way through town to get to the mayor. Then we take control of him and convince the townsfolk aliens aren't even real. By giving them this speech where we have a bunch of dialogue options and we have to keep picking the right ones to keep the crowd happy. Yeah, they love me. And you can actually fail the mission by picking too many wrong ones. But there's so many hilarious options like this. Oh, should pull a Biden, hey? So now with the crowd happy, that's mission complete. And we're off to the next area, called Santa Modesta. And of course that means another trophy. Immodesta. And right next to where we spawn is one of the collectibles in the game. Which thankfully we don't need to get them all in this one, but getting my very first one pops this. Now the first mission here. We just have to scan mines until we find the Alpha, which ends up being the mayor of course. Then after reading his thoughts, Pox comes to this conclusion.
This mayor is pathetic.
So I start tossing everyone around and I end up unlocking this trophy somehow, which I don't think I really did. And right after that we also unlock a new weapon, which does, well, this. I'm also able to turn any items I want into ammo by spamming square, just the same as taking brains. But the first time I do it, it pops up this trophy. Reduce, abuse, recycle. But after a few more brain pops, it's mission complete. And after I grab a couple more upgrades, we end up running into the Men in Black. Well, we more or less just listen to them from a distance. But the important thing is we overhear them talking about someone or something named Majestic, which we find out is their organization name. And after blowing them up, we also find out about this guy named Sleepy Ernst. He's a scientist who's figured out human mind control. And Pox says to take him out because...
They should be all guinea pigs.
And to be able to steal his plan, we have to go around bending all these antennas around town, which ends up just failing and causing this to happen anyways. But at least it unlocks us this next weapon, which is what we have to use to collect all the brain stems we need. And for the next quick mission, we just scan some scientists' brains only to find out they're using mind control drugs in the food supply too, which is also just a good reason to laser up a few grocery stores. Oh, and the saucer also has shields so you can deflect missiles, just like this. Simply repulsive. But once all that is done, we land and make our way in there with a disguise to kidnap one of the Majestic agents. Well, I mean, not really. He kind of just follows me on his own. But once back, we start to question him about Majestic. And of course, he won't answer, which leads to, this. But we also get our first look at this very ominous individual. And I'm not going to go over every single mission in the game since there's a lot that are just simple, like this defend mission where I got this, or the one right after where I literally just had to destroy everything, which is also where I got this one. Swift Harvest. Then after a whole lot more destroying, I went back to the store for a couple upgrades and ended up maxing out one, which got me grade A upgrade. And then another trophy right after, which is just for looking at the art. So, not too difficult, you know? Now there's only a few missions left before we move on to the next area. And this is where things start to get intense. We need to get the TV star Burt Wither. And after following this crackpot around, and yes, that's actually his name, good old crackpot. But we find out from him that Burt is being held by the military, and we need to disguise ourselves as this chef to get in.
Come on, birdie boy. I got a little job for you.
But getting out is the hard part, as we have to fight through the whole military to get out now. And we also have to make sure Burt here doesn't stray away, which if you've played this game, then you know how amazing the following mechanics can be sometimes. But once we get him out, we can start up the mind control broadcast, which is actually a really hard mission. We have to defend 2 different towers while defending off non-stop waves of military for 2.5 minutes. And once that's done, there's another 2.5 minutes, but this time with tanks and a lot more rocket launchers, which is what bombarded the shit out of me and killed me the first time. But luckily the restarts in this game are pretty great, and it only had me start right back to the beginning of that wave, which might have also been a pretty good thing because I ended up getting this trophy right then. Hot to Trot for dodging a missile, because I'm just like that. And since I stayed alive this time, once the timer is done, the mission is done. And that's the last of Santa Modesta. For now. And we're off to the next area. Area 42. Now this is where 136 crash landed at the very start, and our mission here is to keep the Furon technology out of human hands. And after following a trail of pieces, we end up finding this.
I really thought you'd be alive. Okay, monkeys. You want a war? You got a war.
And that instantly spawns us into a room full of enemies, just for me to get absolutely wrecked. But when I respawned, I just used skate to get out of there as fast as I could, which ended up making me miss my first optional objective. So I went back and did the whole mission over again and made sure I got it, and ended up getting this trophy for replaying a mission. But a couple missions later, we end up raiding the Majestic lab, and we find out they've created a human mutant hybrid, which we'll be seeing a bunch from now on. But we zap as many as we can, blow up the lab, then head outside to get the saucer, then blow everything up even more. Just to make sure they can't create any more. And we also overhear them talking about some kind of test flight, which we end up finding out they fixed up the UFO and are ready to fly it. But there's no way we can let that happen. So just like always, we blow everything up, including the scientist that built it.
Let's show our guests what this bottle rocket can do. Vertical takeoff and landing! How do you like them apples? That's it? That's your ultimate weapon?
Now we just have 2 more missions left here, and they both involve destroying this whole town, with the first one being a really long escort mission where we have to bring this nuke from one side of the map all the way to the other to blow up the airfield where the UFO was. But of course this is the slowest truck ever. Even when we get there, it's another 3 minutes of defending it. And after another little cutscene with this leather individual, we're off to destroy the rest of the town. Literally, we have to blow up a majority of all the buildings here. And once we're done, we head off to the next area, Uniontown. But it seems they've already prepared for our arrival, and this happens.
Curse you, pathetic humans!
Then we wake up in this electric cage where we get the next trophy. But clearly they aren't too smart, because all I have to do is holobob to get out. But while Crypto was out, they took all of our weapons, and even our jetpack, which results in a full mission of literally running around collecting all of our items.
Little green men! Not again, colorblind moron!
We even have to go find our UFO. Then once we hop in it, you can probably guess what's next. Another move I didn't show with the UFO though is healing. You can pick up any vehicles and spam square to steal their health and fill yours back up, which got me gas, guzzler. And well, that's it for Uniontown. Only the one single mission. And now we're going to the final area of the game, Capital City. Capital Punishment. But after we scan the area and also scan a few brains over at the White House, we end up finding out where these two goobers are.
The time has come to unite our 5 defense branches under a single chain of command. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Majestic, of course.
So now we have to make sure all 5 of those armies don't work together against us. And how better to do it than take over one of their bodies, go into the meeting and convince them all just let it go. Which doesn't end up going too well.
Come and get me, you commie piece of crap!
And it gets us into this boss fight against the general, who all of a sudden appears wearing that suit that Iron Man made in that cave from the first movie.
Let's get funky.
But this boss fight isn't the one to worry about just yet. Although a fairly long fight, it's just because he has a lot of health. You have to get through 3 full waves to actually beat him, but as long as you stay flying and shooting the whole time, dodging all his shots, it's super easy. And here's the last few to take him down. There we go. Unilateral disarmament.
Go on, you commie punk. Finish it.
It didn't have to be this way, Armquist. Pathetic human.
But now there's just a couple filler missions standing between us and the very last boss fight, and they're all in preparation for it as well, like taking the president or destroying all the Tesla coils around town, which is what downed our ship on that island before. But with those done, we have the last mission unlocked, which actually has 2 bosses in one. But I've been here before, and I've had my trouble with this mission when the remaster first came out. I remember having way too much trouble with it actually. So before I jumped in, I wanted to finish everything else in order to unlock all my upgrades to make sure I did not fail this fight. And the very first thing I did is all the challenges in the game. Each area has 4 challenge missions that you need to complete with 3 stars each. And Abduct is the first kind of challenge, where you have to toss enemies into the beam until you've gotten enough to fill up the 3 stars. All within a time limit too, of course. But for the first time completing one, I get this trophy. Let's go down to the challenge. I also got Champion of Abduction for getting 3 stars on my first Abduct mission. And right after that, we have a Rampage challenge, which is just destroying humans. But as you can see here, in every challenge, there's an optional objective that will get you more points, which is definitely necessary for the later ones. But here, I was able to finish up way before the timer was even up, and I got this trophy. Righteous Rampage. Now next up is Armageddon, which is just the same as the last but in a ship instead, and we have to destroy all the buildings. But the easier way to do this is to focus on draining all the cars that have extra points. And once that's done, I get the 3 stars trophy for that. The Art of Armageddon. And the last challenge type is a race. We have to follow this drone to collect everything it drops, and the closer we are, the more bonus points we get. But since I already had my skate maxed out, I got that first try for these 2 trophies. Let's go, you're on Faster Race. Jerk of all trades. Obtain at least a 2-star rating for each challenge type. Well, I got 3. Now I just had to do that another 20 times, while obviously getting progressively harder. But I mean, since I've beaten all of these before on Xbox, I can't say I had any troubles with any of them. Although the last ones do get a lot harder, they only took me 1 or 2 tries each. And after over an hour and a half of non-stop doing challenges, I finally finished the very last one to get this. There it is, 3rd gold star, it's the last one done. There it is, Ace of Space, let's go. So now I can afford to upgrade all the weapons I need for that last boss fight, but I wanted to clear up the few remaining random trophies quickly before I jumped in. Just really simple ones like hopping through the donut for Hop the Hoop, or tossing a human in the ocean for Feed the Sharks, which I don't know how I didn't get before. But then the last one is for hitting someone with a flaming hay bale like this. Pyrokinesis. Now like I said, I have done this boss fight before, but I don't think I've ever actually beaten it. I probably didn't have all the upgrades or something, I don't know. But this is a 2-part fight, beginning with us finally finding out who this person is.
You're a chick?
But then she introduces us to the first boss we'll be fighting.
The Robo-Prez!
If elected, I promise to destroy all Furons!
That is seriously messed up.
So for this part, we get to use the UFO, and just like the last fight, Robot Prez has 3 waves of health to go through, but his attacks aren't really the ones to worry about. But the military is on the ground sending non-stop missiles the whole time, and also these damn hot air balloons with bombs that pissed me off so much. They have a mind of their own and tend to just fly right into you somehow. But as long as I kept healing the whole time, making sure my health wasn't too low, and focusing all my damage on Robo Prez, I ended up defeating him on the very first try. Come on, almost there, Couple more hits. Oh, he's dead. Yeah, there we go, impeached. That guy was light work, got him the first try. But, now here comes the hard part. But now it's time for the final boss fight, and the one I was worried about. I remember failing this so many times back in the day, but just like the others, there's 3 waves. But some of these moves were absolutely mind-boggling. It took me a fat minute to understand. Like this one, if you get too far away from her, she sends these flying purple thingies at you, and if they hit you, they do this. Which happened in my first 20 seconds and almost killed me right then, which would have been horrible. This is a very bad start. Very bad start. And then it happened a couple more times as well, but I finally understood what was happening. Then once the first wave of health is done, she goes to these health towers to heal. And if you can destroy it before her health gets full, that's where her health will stay at, making things a lot easier. There's also one other move that's a huge concern. She turns everything into what seems to be a radiation zone with only a few pockets to survive in, and also only a few seconds to make it to one. And being outside, it does mad damage. But I was able to get all those moves unlocked as well as the rest of her simpler moves, like this one, and I made it all the way to the last bit of her health, which is where this happened. I'm about to get it first try. Come on. Yes, I did it. Oh my god, for the glory of the Furon Empire. I actually did it first try. Holy shit. That's insane. I was never able to do that on Xbox before.
Attention, humans. I am Cryptosporidium of the planet Furon. This planet is now a territory of the Furon Empire. Resist this.
Oh, and this is for every one of those optional objectives. But that's the Destroy All Humans 1 story complete, with only 1 trophy left that I saved for the last to get the platinum. It just seemed perfectly suited for this moment. All I have to do is abduct a cow. Nope. How did I get a car? The cow. There we go, as is tradition. Furon perfection. It's awesome. Been wanting to do that for years since I failed at that boss fight. So alongside the first game, they also released a multiplayer game, which I thought would be super fun to get the platinum on. So me and my bros hopped on just to find out the game is completely dead, and I didn't have anyone else to join up with us. So we just had fun and played the game, going through all the game modes, racing each other and killing each other over and over and over and over again. It honestly is a pretty fun game, but it would have been way better if they released it using the second game's mechanics, and maybe even more people per lobby. But I mean, it is on sale for 2 cents, so if you have a friend to play with it, I would recommend going to get it. It only takes about 6 hours to finish the whole game, with the hardest trophy being this one you have to do in split screen. You're supposed to get the 3 stars for this challenge, but since the points are doubled for 2 players, it makes it a fair bit harder. I mean, unless you have someone else using the other controller beside you, obviously. But it ended up taking me about 4 tries to finally get it. Now let's get into Destroy All Humans 2, which like the last gives you a trophy when you invade a new area, but this first one pops right when you start the game, Rock of the Bay. But during the intro we end up finding out that Crypto 137 is dead. And it's 10 years later from the last game. So now we're Crypto 138, and on top of that he's taken over as president and lives in the White House. We also find out that 138 has a new type of DNA harvested from human brains. Oh, and he's got this too.
He also bears a mysterious new mutation, referred to only as the package. Ooh.
So for the first mission, we see the humans nuke our mothership with Pox in it. Also at the same time, they send a KGB agent to take out Crypto, which is where we spawn in and have to take them all out. But before I even finished, I opened the menu and threw on a costume quickly to pop this trophy. Furon fashion. Now once all the KGB agents are taken out, we run into Pox, which we find out he was able to download his mind into this hologram just before he blew up. Lucky him. And since we're in 1969 now, there's a lot of hippies around, which also has something to do with the next weapon we get. It's called Free Love. It shoots colorful hippie rays and makes everyone start dancing like this. Ooh, it's a party, man. Which also keeps them distracted so I can holobob one of them, which gets me this trophy. Mash machine. But our goal now is to find someone called The Freak, who then tells us there's this other guy named Coyote Bongwater, and he's the one we're looking for.
Coyote Bongwater, which is pretty righteous.
And that he has ties with the KGB, and they're also making this drink called Revelade that just everyone is drinking, which we'll find out more about later. But just down the street is where we find Coyote Bongwater's apartment.
Ah! Goddamn flashbacks.
Guess again, sunshine.
And just as we're about to take him out, the KGB steps in to save him. Before we can get outside to take them all out, they've already taken him away. Damn, they're fast. But that's mission complete. And right away, I opened up my menu to pop this next trophy. Earthly pleasures. What's that for? Oh. Okay. So now we have to stop Mr. Bongwater and the KGB from distributing that Revelade from before, which is a drink that they made. And also a gas at the same time, I don't know. But it takes the Furon DNA out of every human brainstem, which is kind of the thing we need to keep being cloned and stay alive. And we find out from our good pal the Freak that they're about to distribute it over the whole town using blimps. So that's our next mission, is to take them all out, which only requires one little tiny zap of the laser each. But once that's done and I unlock my Furotech cells, I went to buy my very first weapon upgrade. Shop till they drop. Now next up is this mission called The Alien Who Probed Me, where after talking to the Freak one more time, he tells us that Coyote has a girlfriend named Prudence, and we end up finding her in the park, about to have a concert so she can release Revelade everywhere to destroy our precious brain stems. So as you can guess, we have to destroy it all, including some trucks that start driving away to get protected by the military, which is where I somehow got this trophy, that I still don't know how I got, but whatever. Line up 3 humans with the disc. I didn't line up nothing. And after dying just so I could read what the trophy was, we end up finding out where Bongwater's secret lair is. Which, I mean, looks exactly how you would expect a secret hippie lair to. But he ends up shooting us with a Revelade missile, sending us into a crazy trip, while also having to kill him for this boss fight. And I don't know if it's because Crypto is tripping so hard, or if the guy keeps respawning, but we have to navigate through this Willy Wonka looking world and kill him 4 times. Well, 5 if you count the cutscene where he warns the KGB that we got him.
Agent Orangeoff, come in. You'll have to start the revolution without me.
Sometimes it's kinder just to put 'em down.
But now with the Coyote Bongwater saga over, we get this. Destroy a tool in Bay City. Then after my first of many horrible crashes this game has in store for me, I completed the next quick mission, where we just have to speak to Arkfoodle here to activate this landing zone. Then I got this for finishing the mission, and also this for buying my very first UFO upgrade. We're on to our last mission in this area now though. Pox tells us he's found the KGB base, and it's on this little Alcatraz island here, which is where we get set up and surrounded by all of them, only to be introduced to this new character as she saves us. But sadly, we don't actually get to meet her just yet. First, we have to drop all of the KGB nukes into the water and blow up their secret Alcatraz base. And then we're able to go to the next area, called Albion. Be right off the bat, there it is, lie back and think of Albion. So this is where Pox traced Agent Orenchov's base to be at, the leader of the KGB. And big surprise here, his secret base is also underground. It's in these old train tunnels that go for a very long way down and have way too many agents guarding them. But once we finally find him, he's working with some scientists on some crazy alien spores, and he ends up using it on himself, turning into this damn abomination. So now we have a 2-part boss fight with him. The first just being 5 minutes of hitting him until he runs away, and then we unlock our next weapon, the probe. But the reason for that is to use it on whatever the f this door is. Come on, man. But now every time I hit him with the probe, he turns back into a human for a few seconds, which is when I get my chance to attack. And finally defeating him gets me this. Freshly squeezed. What a trophy for that.
Chicken Kiev.
And right after, out of nowhere comes this very finely dressed British gentleman.
Well done, Mr. President. Well done indeed.
Do I know you, teabag?
And considering we have to fight our way through all of the enemies to get back out of here, I don't quite understand how he got down here. But once we get out, he tells us he runs this organization.
I'm with M16, the Foreign Intelligence Agency.
Then runs off and says we'll see him later.
Bye, have a beautiful time.
But I missed an optional objective in that last mission, and just like the last game, you get a trophy for revisiting a mission the first time. Return of the Clones of the Invasion 2, Part 2? Now after talking to our British friend again, he tells us about a party that all the VIPs in Albion are having. But once we're there, all we find are these dolls that end up being full of the alien spores from before, turning all the humans around into bliss. But at least we finally get to meet our new friend here. And after we work together to destroy all the spores, she tells us her name.
The name is Natalia.
And she also tells us who she works for.
Gosu Darstvenoi Bezopeznosti.
Why, you make pasta?
I'm a secret agent with the KGB.
She also seems to know everything about these spores, and we figure out they're about to go spread them throughout the whole town. Huh, my ex liked to spread them throughout the whole town too. But that's the last thing to go stop from happening before the end of this mission. And then one more quick mission where we end up finding out how Crypto feels about Natalia. I mean, can't blame him.
Damn it, Crypto, focus. She's just a chick, a human chick. You barely know her. A hideous, repulsive human chick who smells really good. No, focus, damn it!
But then I went to get my next trophy for getting 3 perfectly timed probes in a row. Now we go back to talk to our friend Ponsonby again. Well, we thought he was our friend. Once we talk to him, he hits us with one of those damn spores and we end up waking up strapped to this chair underground. And after picking all the wrong answers just to piss him off, I get gassed over and over and over until finally Natalia comes to save the day. But of course we can't just let him get away with that shit, so we go and find him. Well, actually he finds us, but Mr. Tough Guy over here forgot that we're an alien with crazy space weapons, and within 2 minutes I completely destroyed him. And you're done, Ponson boy. You're done, bud. Die nasty. But on his deathbed, he leaves us with one unfinished sentence.
You actually believe you're the only...
The only... what?
So now one more quick mission to do and we're off to the next place. And first thing, we go try and pick up Natalia real quick.
Hey, sexy, what do you say you and me just chuck all this for the night? Check into the Savoy, order up some oysters, test the bed springs. I'll teach you the Venus butterfly.
Man, what's a Venus butterfly? But since that didn't work, we head off to destroy the rest of the Revelate they have stored. Oh, and of course blow up all the KGB buildings. Can't forget that. But while we're doing that, Natalia had snuck into the building and stole some files that tells us our next place to go to. Takoshima. I look up as I walk to Takoshima. What am I looking up at? There's nothing to look up at, man. Except for that thing. Now for the first mission here, we go with Natalia to steal these KGB plans, and we find out about something named Project Solaris taking place on the island just off the coast. But before we go there, we stop off to visit the White Ninjas, where we have to answer a questionnaire about everything that's happened so far, which I might have gotten one wrong and got sliced up. But once I got them all right, they give me this next data core to unlock me the ion detonator. But right then, the Black Ninjas appear, which are the enemies here that are working with the KGB, and the White Ninjas say they have someone held hostage, which brings us to our next mission. But before that, I maxed out one of my upgrades quickly and got a trophy. Upgradist. Nice. I haven't had a trophy in so long. So on to mission 3 here. We have to get that hostage they have by the name of
Dr. Go.
Now getting into this castle is the easier part, and Dr. Go is just standing right there. Then we have to fight our way through all of the KGB and Black Ninjas to be able to get him to the White Ninjas, and they disappear him in a cloud of smoke. And exactly how most missions end in this game, we blow up the whole castle with our new weapon. Now Dr. Go tells us that the KGB base is inside the volcano, and to get in there we need to gather 3 codes from around the map. Then along with Natalia, we go up there and make our way inside. And after fighting through all the enemies, all we find is a screen where this guy appears.
Premier Milenkov.
And shows us a video of them gassing someone, turning them into what's going to be our next boss fight. He also sets the place to self-destruct, making us run through this platform section to get out. And right away we run into that boss I was talking about. Now this fight isn't actually that hard, even though you're fighting Godzilla here, or sorry, Kojira, but there's 2 bars of health to go through. The first is all done in the UFO, which as you can imagine is super easy, just non-stop shooting the whole time. But the second part you have to do on foot, and all your shots have to hit it in the belly to do damage, which is easier said than done when he's shooting this this huge laser at you. But there's also spores flying around, which is how I finally got my next trophy. Dusted? What's that for? I'll run blisk spores. Huh. Then after getting absolutely splattered against the wall here, no, I had to run through the fight from the very beginning, and I got right back to this last part easy and finished off the fight with my ion detonator. I juiced. Finally. That was a long boss fight, man. He has a lot of health. Holy shit. Now, I didn't know just how many side missions there were in this game, so I started doing a bunch of them. Until after an hour, I realized I couldn't even complete the ones in this area. So I went and got the trophy for going to the next place, Tunguska. But then I went back to the first two places to do those side missions as well, which is where I completed this one, where you build a satellite to phone home for help. But when they find out the mothership is gone, they just end up getting mad. At least we get a trophy though. Also in the next side mission, I got a perfect chance to get this trophy for throwing a cop through the donut. But once I realized I actually had to beat the game to unlock every side mission, I went off to Tunguska to jump back into the story. So I'll get back into the sides after. But back in Tunguska, we find out where yet another KGB secret base is. And that brings us to these missions, where for the first one, we prepare the fuel rods in front of the base entrances. Then after Crypto getting jealous over Natalia,
Certainly not some chicks.
we head on into those bases and throw the fuel rods into whatever this alien looking machine is. And once that's done for all three labs, they go kaboom, and we finally get to find out what Ponsonby meant when he said this.
You actually believe you're the only...
Now, we've already dealt with the little guys before, but now we have to deal with these giant Blisk that we have to fight as well.
Holy hookers of Arkvoodle!
So after taking them all out, we regroup to figure out how to get rid of the rest of them. And after talking to Dr. Orlov here, we get an upgrade to make our weapons more effective against them. Then we're off to blow up their base, which turned out to be super easy. I just had to zap 3 different crystals around the area, and just like that, I get my next trophy. Scuttled. Finally a trophy. It's been like 2 hours. Holy. Destroy an old foe in Tunguskan ship-to-ship battle. But now back at Pox, he tells us this.
You should probably find Natalia. She may even need your assistance.
And he was exactly right, and we end up finding Natalia trapped in this alien bubble. But then Malenkov steps out and tells us about the final phase of his plan.
Hello, Cryptosporidium. We are preparing to initiate the final phase of Operation Solaris from our ultra-secret main facility on the moon.
And as he takes off, it gives us the ultimatum to pick between saving her or catching him. Well, I'm pretty sure you can guess what Crypto's next move was. Fight off a stupid amount of enemies and save the hot chick. But that's the end of Tunguska, and we get to head to the craziest looking place yet. Solaris, aka Project Solaris from before, also known as the Moon. But of course we get a trophy now. And the first thing I did here was finish off these upgrades you can get that require specific maps, since you need a certain type of character for each. You have to fly around abducting however many of certain type of human it says to fill all of them up. And then you can go back and blend them all together to upgrade each category. And once every single upgrade is done, I get this. But now on to the last few missions to finish off the story. And following tradition here, it seems, for the first mission we get to destroy yet another one of their underground bases to diminish their nuclear power. Well, it's actually a mine this time, but you get the deal. Then we have to go and convince all the Russians to take our side and stop working with the Blisk. And with every option failing, we tell them the Blisk are taking away their vodka. And with that, we have them on our side. So all it takes is vodka. Then Pox tells us he has the launch codes for the Blisk's weapon to destroy Earth. And right as he says that, this happens.
Oh no! That's the launch sequence alert!
What timing. And we are able to stop the weapon before it goes off, but then this guy steps out. Now this cutscene is literally 7 minutes long of them talking, but basically Malenkov over here says that they're going to nuke Earth and wipe out humanity so that the Blisk can take over.
Devilish master plan!
And Crypto's all like, well, what about your own people? Then Malenkov laughs and says his people have been Blisk in disguise this whole time running Russia. So Crypto gets aggravated and decides to shoot him. But as you can see, that does nothing, and he just brushes it off and walks away. But that finally brings us to the final mission of the story. After getting NASA to bring us a virus from Earth that kills the Blisk, we go and get Natalia to make our way into their gigantic base here. And on top of taking out non-stop hordes of Blisk here, we also have to protect her for a couple minutes so she's able to actually inject the virus. And there's a couple different areas that has to be done, all while protecting her the whole time. But once that's done, the whole base goes boom. Then right as Crypto's dream finally comes true, this happens.
Natalia! You're gonna pay for that, you son of a bitch!
Now for the actual last boss fight. And I'm not gonna lie, this fight was way too easy, especially compared to the first game. I mean, I did have every upgrade, but I just spammed everything at him the whole time, barely even getting hit. And when I beat him, this happens. Let's go, got him first try. Lobster Blisk. I also got the trophy for every optional objective. And we also get one more nice cutscene here to actually give the story a happy ending.
Wake me up when you're ready for re-entry.
I made a few adjustments.
Although that may be the end of the story, we still have a bunch of trophies to get. Even another side storyline. But first I went in for a really easy one for dropping a person off the top of this bridge. Albion Bridge is for falling down. I still have to go up here? Oh, there we go, okay. Higher than the Futenzoku. I don't know what that is. Now it was side mission time. And I could make a whole other video just going through the storylines here. I mean, there's way too many side missions. It ended up taking me about 3 to 4 hours total to do every single one. But the main one is we go around creating this cult of Arkvoodle that everyone starts getting involved in, and Crypto ends up pointing Shamalama to be the leader.
Hail Arkvoodle! Hail Shamalama!
It's actually a pretty damn hilarious storyline, but it ends up with everyone summoning Arkvoodle, and we unlock this secret weapon to get us a trophy. Okay, it does. Arkvoodle Doodle. It's been 3 hours of non-stop side missions. I don't want to do more. Then the mission right after that also has Shamalama in it, where him and Crypto get into a fight, which ends up with us using the new weapon to take him out. Holy crap. What the heck? Deincarnated. But he just keeps coming back to life somehow, damn cult magic. But that gives us a chance to get another trophy for taking his body and hitting his new body with it. Ouch of body experience, there we go. There's also Hitman side missions, where you get sent to take someone out, like this big Yeti for this one. Yeti Sund. Didn't know there was a trophy for this one even. And finally, after being brain dead from going through so many side missions, I finally got to the very last one. Against all odds. Was that the last side mission? Oh my god, finally. Oh, it's over. That was at least over 4 hours of side missions total. Now let's get into some random trophies, such as taking a basketball halfway across the moon to get a slam dunk. There we go, PK's slam dunk. Or going through every single map to destroy 2 things on each. One being a certain building that a bunch of humans run out of when destroyed. This should be the last building for that one trophy. Yep, there it is, hidden human hive harvest. And the other being a hidden porta potty. There we go, toilet break. And right after that, I had to go through all 5 areas yet again for 5 more trophies. Each map has a certain route that you have to skate through without being interrupted. And once you get from one destination to the other, you get a trophy. Oh, there we go, that was easy. And the last one is the only one that's just confusing because the route is weird. But other than that, they're all pretty easy. Path of the Furon. Hey, that's what I'm playing next. There we go, last one. And finally, it's platinum time, with the worst thing standing between me and it, the damned collectibles. Now, these aren't the exact numbers, but there's about 5 posters on each map hidden in stupid spots for this trophy, 10 of these red artifacts on every single map, and then last 10 vinyls on each. And that ended up taking me another 2 hours, if not more. And well, that left me a bit salty, but here's when I finally got it. It's the last one, finally, man. These collectibles are actually so stupid. This game is like 80% collectibles and side missions, 20% actual the game. I never want to see a collectible again in my life. Beyond perfection, let's go. Now, although I was salty about those collectibles, I still love these games. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like and also subscribe, because in my next video, I'll be getting every achievement in Destroy All Humans Path of the Furon, which is the 3rd game they never remastered for some reason. And you can click right here to watch it. But thank you so much for watching and have a great day.